Okay, guys, so in this video, we're going to talk about whether Nikola Motor stock is a good buy now. So, in case you guys didn't know, the stock went down pretty sharply recently, yesterday's trading session. And this was due to the company was issuing around 24 million shares. And then also an additional 50 million or so shares were being basically dumped by insiders that bought before the huge run up. So I just want to quickly explain to you guys how this took place and whether or not I think the stock is a good buy. Before I get into the video, guys, please smash the like button. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm, guys. Let's get right into it. Okay, so if we take a look here, we can take a look at basically what's been going on with Nikola Motor. And as you can see here, there's an article posted on Business Insider. It says Nikola plummets 21% after company files to sell 24 million shares. So basically what is happening is we're dealing with massive kind of dilution here. The company has basically added a bunch of additional shares outstanding. And usually when a company issues more shares, it absolutely dilutes the existing shareholders, which usually causes the stock price to go down. And also a lot of times people end up dumping those shares. So this is kind of what exactly happened. And I recommended in this video that even though the stock had ran up so much, I thought it was a good time to take profits. So I recommended buying Nikola around $35 before the merger with Vector IQ happened. So I want to kind of explain what I was talking about. So when I first mentioned Nikola Motor, I thought that the idea was really good. I really like the CEO, Trevor Milton. Okay, so this is kind of taking a look at what we're looking at this chart. And this is a typical chart that we'll see on a stock that has been greatly overbought without any revenue backing up the stock price. So one of the important things I like to do is when I see a stock run up very fast like this, I think it's definitely a good sign to take profit. So as you can see here, I recommended a Nikola Motor at around $35. I recommended it right before the merger, and then the stock shot up to $93. So what is going on here, guys, is that it really doesn't make sense how a company is going to be worth almost triple the amount of value when the company generates no revenue. So what happened is obviously some of the savvier investors took profits, and then the stock continued to sell off, and then the rest of the dump took place. So now we're sitting at around $38. But the good thing is that there is clear support at around $38. So this is actually, I think, a decent time to buy. And if we take a look at the SEC, we take a look at the SEC filing, we can see some more information about the company in depth. So, okay, so I'm actually on the SEC filing here. So as you can see, it explains it a little bit more in depth. So it says up to 53,000 shares of commons, 53 million shares of common stock, and up to around 24 million shares of common stock on warrants. So basically, a lot of the insiders, I believe some of them were things like BlackRock, Fidelity, a lot of the investment banks, they're seeing that this is an opportunity to dump off their shares. And as you can see here, they sold these shares uh, basically because the stock had ran up so much. So I hope for you guys that bought at around 35 where I recommended it, I hope you took some profits off of the table. I believe I sold my shares at around $72, something like that. I knew that the stock was going to come back down simply because, in the short term, greed and fear drive stock prices, but in the long term, it's revenue and earnings. Most basically earnings, depending on whether the company is profitable or not. But usually, these companies, if the stock shoots up, it'll come back and get cheaper. So this is a great time to buy, I think. If you're a long-term investor, we saw what happened with Tesla, the stock price, Tesla is just crushing it right now. And although I think Nikola Motor is a slightly different company, I think with those tens of thousands of pre-orders and all of that built-in revenue and companies like Anheuser-Busch and other companies and manufacturers that need their products transported. I think this company has a lot of long-term potential. And I like this Trevor Milton guy. So I like this Trevor Milton guy, the founder of this company. He's a really young guy and he's really passionate. He's quite active on Twitter. So I see a lot of the similarities that I see in Trevor Milton in Elon Musk. Obviously it's hard to compare the two, but I can kind of see how Trevor Milton is modeling Nikola Motor after Tesla. And we all know that one of the biggest keys to success is just to model other successful people. So I think right now, I think a lot of people are impatient, and the fact that the investment banks dumped their shares, this is going to scare some people off. But that's normal, guys. And the fact that most of these investment banks are buying the stock when it's much cheaper, and then they're dumping it off right around here, that's completely normal. But if you take a look at kind of the long-term price appreciation, so we just take a look at the year-to-date chart here. Okay, so when it comes to a company like this, remember the whole electric vehicle movement and the whole transition to clean energy vehicles is a long-term trend. So even though the stock has been crushed lately, it's still up 273% annually. So this is definitely, so obviously the number one stock in this category would be Tesla, but I think Nikola is definitely a number two pick for me. And the fact is, I expect transportation in terms of shipping and products and things like that to absolutely transform a ton over the rest of this decade. So for me, this is a good time. Okay, so now that I think that this is a decent time to look at acquiring a stake in the company. Obviously we want to buy this stock when it's at its cheaper price, and the fact that there's plenty of support at around $38, I think this makes Nikola very attractive. As you can see here, guys, we take a look at one of the support lines that's been built. So here we have support at around 38, and then below here was resistance. So usually when a stock crosses over that resistance line, this becomes support. And the fact that Trevor Milton still owns 25% of the shares outstanding, I think that this is a great sign that even though obviously some of the insiders and investment banks have taken profits, I think that the fact that he still owns a 25% stake definitely means that he thinks that the company is going to do really well in the long term. And anytime a founder is holding a lot of shares, that's a good sign. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so as you can see here, it says the increased dilution would bring Nikola's outstanding share count to 384 million from 360 million, according to the filing. Nikola CEO Trevor Milton owns 25% of Nikola Motors. So, it is a little bit ambitious to think that this company is going to take the same trajectory that Tesla has, but I think that's where we're headed in the direction. So I mentioned a lot of these EV stocks on my channel, and a lot of them have done really well. I mentioned to you guys Solo. That was a really I did really well with that pick. I talked about Nikola Motors. Obviously, I've been a huge Tesla bull ever since Tesla stock was at around $500. So congrats for you guys that held on to Tesla for that time. And I'm going to be making some videos on Tesla as well. But I think that, we definitely can look at this as a prime opportunity to get in on Nikola Motors, but this is definitely going to be a longer term hold. So I think the time frame for a lot of these EV stocks is definitely from now until like 2022 or 2023. But if you add this, let's say you add a couple shares to your portfolio, right? If you bought at around here, you're definitely down. But here's the positive side: the stock is still up 270% on the year. So what you can do is especially if you're younger, like you're a teenager or in your 20s or something like that, you could just constantly add to this company and just hold. So this could be like a long-term buy and hold for you, for the fact that we're waiting for them to come up with some revenue, we're waiting for them to produce some vehicles. And we all know that by 2030, we know that the stock is a bit oversold. We know that a lot of people are kind of negative on Nikola, and the fact that there's been support at $38, this could be a great opportunity for long-term investors. When it comes to buying assets like this, we definitely don't want to buy the hype. We want to buy this company when nobody else wants it. And that was the same strategy that I used with some of the other picks that I made recently on my channel. Was when it comes, so that's the same strategy that I took when I bought some of my other stocks recently in this EV market, for companies that other people want right now but are going to want in the future. And the fact that this company obviously has a great production line in the future, they should be generating revenue next year. I think people are a little bit short-sighted with this. 380 shares outstanding is not a ton of shares. There are companies out there with billions of shares outstanding, so I'm not too worried about the outstanding share count. But I am going to look at Trevor Milton's ownership. It's currently at 25%, so if that number decreases, then I'm definitely going to be a bit worried, because if the founder is not really investing in the stock as much, that could be a huge red flag. But it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with this company. The stock is down a lot from its high of $90, so this looks like a great opportunity. So I'm going to be adding to my, well, actually, I bought Nikola Motors right around the just after the merger again, and hopefully this time I want to take a longer term position because I just had to take a quick profit off that huge move up, guys. So I hope this video was informative right now. I really like this company. I think it's number 2 behind Tesla, and that's saying a lot. So one of the good things about Nikola Motor is that they are on a hydrogen hybrid diesel truck that can really revolutionize how we transport goods around North America. So really exciting company, and really nice to see more companies go clean and help improve the environment. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. And please, if you like my content and receive more videos on Nikola Motors and other EV, I think can make you a lot of money in the long run. So that's until next time, guys. Take care.